Hi ladies, how are you? So, I'm coming to do my labor and delivery video, and I'm going to be quick. I'm going to try and be 15 minutes or less because everything went really smoothly, and it was a blessing to, for one, get pregnant, and two, to have a healthy baby and not have any issues or complications with delivery. So, it all started on July. Well, first let me tell you my story. Ever since high school, I was told that I would not be able to have children. I was told that I would not be able to have children because I have PCOS, which is polycystic ovarian syndrome. It's when a lot of cysts are on your ovaries, which causes issues with fertility. It has to do with weight, a lot of hair. Being able not to lose weight. It's just a lot of issues. So I would suggest, if you're overweight, to do a little bit of research about it because it is common. So since high school, I, gave up the thought of having children. When I married my husband, I gained a 3-year-old daughter, and I just took it as if, I'm not going to have kids. This is our child. This is my child, and so be it. So, I conceived on Thanksgiving, which I remember vividly, and I wasn't feeling too well in about January, so I thought I maybe had like a cold or something, so I took off work, and I went over to the doctor. And he just said, well, let me check you. I'm thinking, well, I'm in here for a cold. Why are you checking me down there? What's going on? So he obviously knew what he was doing because I saw the little heartbeat, and I just broke down and cried. I called my husband, and he was just like, I told you, God, is the way. When you have patience and you trust in God, He's going to make things happen. So, needless to say, I can have children. So, anyone out there who thinks that they can't have kids, my advice to you is, because I get a lot of emails, and they ask me what I did. I didn't do anything. I gave it to God, and the rest is history. I did lose weight. I lost about 80 pounds, so I think that helped as well. But the way that I conceived is by the grace of God, okay? I trusted God, and I know that He would not leave His child childless. So I left it alone. And so be it, God made a way, and I have a little one. That's Fussy back here, and I'll show you her in a little bit. And if you're on Instagram or Facebook, I've posted maybe about 10,000 pictures already. Okay, so it started on July 21st. Okay. I wasn't feeling too well, but I just thought it was pregnancy. I had a doctor's appointment that evening. Earlier that morning, I had been throwing up, and I was just nauseous and, just not feeling well. And at this time, I'm 36 weeks. Okay, so I did have the baby early. I went to the doctor's appointment, and I told her, I was not feeling well. My blood pressure was really high, which I've had issues with that throughout the entire pregnancy. And she said, the first thing she said was, you're going to have a baby. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not ready. I have the room ready. I have, the stroller, the car seat, everything. But mentally, I wasn't ready because I was thinking I was going to have her 40 weeks or 42 weeks. So we rushed over to labor and delivery. I went into the room. They checked me. I was only 1 centimeter dilated. And that was about it. So 30 minutes later, the doctor came in, and she was like, more than likely you're going to have a C-section, but we don't know yet. We're just going to see how the baby moves or whatnot. So this was the 21st. So I went in overnight, and immediately they put me on Pitocin, which is, which causes me to have contractions and go into labor. I didn't have any issues with it. I guess I'm a pain freak, and throughout my entire pregnancy, I scared myself straight crazy because I would go online, I would Google C-sections, epidurals, complications, stillbirths. I would drive myself crazy on what could happen to me. which I was not supposed to do, but I did. So I'm thinking the worst. You know, I'm still praying, giving it to God, but I was still nervous, okay? So they put me on Pitocin. Also had group strep, I think it's group strep B, which is just a, it's a bacteria in your urinary tract or whatnot. I know. And so basically they gave me that. So the contractions started coming. Like I said, they weren't too painful. They were okay. When I got to 2 centimeters, that's when I started feeling a little pain. And because my blood pressure was so high, and you know, I was a high-risk pregnancy, they went ahead and gave me an epidural, which I thank the Lord Jesus Christ that they did. Because, like I said, I drove myself crazy this entire pregnancy about pain. So they gave me the epidural at 2 centimeters. The epidural was not too bad. It took about 10 minutes. The most painful part was when they put the needle in. And it wasn't really painful. I just felt it grind into my spine, but it wasn't as bad as I made it to be. So I got the epidural. I went back, you know, was in labor, but the baby was not moving as she should. She was a little distressed because of my high blood pressure, and she was sitting low, but not low enough to give a vaginal birth. So this is going on into the 22nd day. At this time, it was about 22 hours had passed, and I was in labor, and I had no progress. So I was 2 centimeters for, 22 going on 24 hours. So on the 23rd, I went to the hospital on the 23rd, and on the 24th is when she was born. So it was about 1 or 2 o'clock, and the doctor checked me, and I still did not progress at all. I was still 2 centimeters, and so she said, well, call your husband, because he went home actually to finish cleaning the house, and she said, call your husband and let him know that he needs to be on his way because the little girl's coming. So I called him, and he came. 10 minutes later, I was getting doped up. I mean, I was out of it, and they rolled me straight back to the operation table, and that's all I actually remember. I remember her crying. I remember my husband coming, you know, tell me he loved me, and you know, all the sentimental things. But as far as remembering exactly, you know, the drugs were pretty strong, so I was out of it. I felt tugging, pushing, and when she came out, you know, nothing else mattered. So I did get a C-section. Ultimately, I had no pain. I mean, I didn't have anything. I didn't have any issues during my pregnancy, but just the high blood pressure. I didn't have any pains. I didn't have all the things that I read upon. So if you're pregnant or trying to get pregnant, please stay off the internet, because you scare yourself, and really, you don't have any control over what happens. You know, God has the last say, and that's just the way it is. So, but I was blessed and had a C-section. The worst part about the C-section was the following day when I had to get up. Oh my gosh. It felt like somebody was pulling out my legs and pulling out my arms and stretching me apart. That's what it feels like when you get up and start walking. And it was the worst feeling I could ever feel in my life, but it was worth it. My husband just kept coaching me and, you know, just, you know, saying that you can do it, and, you know, think about Chloe, and I did, and I eventually got it, because obviously I'm at home. But Chloe was born, Chloe Renee Williams, and she was 5 pounds, 8 ounces, so she was really tiny. Right now she's 6 pounds, and she's growing. She's considered a preemie, but she's very, very healthy. The only issues that we have now is constipation, which we're working on, because I'm using formula right now. I breastfeed, but she doesn't latch on too well, so I pump my milk, and I give her a breastfed bottle once a day, because that's all that I can pump right now. You know, the doctor said that she'll be okay. It's normal. and, you know, be a little painful for her because those muscles aren't ready in her rectum. But we're going to work through it. So, all in all, I had a great pregnancy. Will I be having more children if God says so? You know, not right now, but if God says so, yes, we will have another child. And children are a blessing. I love her with all my heart. And, I mean, she's my everything. I never thought I would be a mother. But God is amazing, and He does amazing things. And as long as you trust Him and let Him guide you, you know, to the right path of your future, then you'll be okay. Because what people fail to realize is that God has your future, your life already planned out. You're just waking up every day. You know, you're just waking up and, you know, thinking that you know what you're doing, but God has already planned out. So, here's Chloe. Hi. You want to say hi? Say, I'm sleepy, Mommy. Well, here she is. Hi. Say, I'm milk wasted. Hi. Yeah. Say, how are you, world? I'm good. I'm healthy. My mommy and daddy are taking care of me. And my big sister is so happy to help out. I love you. So this is Chloe. And she's the blessing to us. And she looks exactly like my dad and my uncles, which is so weird. But she looks like my husband, too. I think she looks like me in the mouth region, but she looks exactly like my dad and exactly like my uncles. And she's just a blessing, and I love her. And, you know, I couldn't ask